So now I think it's a time to look at how then the standardization bodies in Europe, in the European Union and in Korea are dealing with this. So on our side, on the side of ETSI, it will be Dr. Enrico Scarrone who will give the presentation. Enrico, the floor is yours. You have 10 minutes, and I think it's really important that we manage to stick to that so that we have a perfect time management today.
I will try. Thank you very much for the introduction. Can you hear me? Just a check.
Yeah, we can hear you. I cannot see you.
Yeah, okay. That's a little bit more strange. I should be on the screen, but let's see if we can see at least the presentation, which is more important than myself itself. Let's see. Seems that everything is a little bit slow on my side. I'm very sorry about that. Is it arriving, the presentation?
Yes, but not yet in presentation mode.
I hope that it is now.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I have to say that I got already a very good introduction from the presentation of Mr. Jim Park and the presentation of Olavi Luotonen, because de facto the concept that has been expressed show that there is in IoT the big trouble is not really which kind of solution or which kind of protocol we are using, but the real problem is how to combine the data and extract the information. Smart City is a perfect example of what we intended as IoT in the standard, because it by default, it implies the combination of different technology. In a Smart City, you have to combine a lot of technologies. So it's at least for now and for a long time, it would be very difficult and probably not appropriate to think to have one single solution which can homogenize everything. We know that we have to manage different things which are based on different solutions. Now, when we think to this kind of problems, we know that we have to combine technologies. But the other thing which is also very important is that we know that another thing, that the technology are at the service of this, what we really want that it happens, the services. So that means that there is a combination of different parties. There are things by itself, there are machines which also perform actions, which have humans in the picture of IoT. We have a ecosystem which already exists, because in certain technology there are consolidated ecosystems. There are vertical solutions in certain other context. And we know also that it's not just connecting with stuff. We need to understand the data, and we need to understand the information carried by the data. And oh, sorry, something went wrong. Okay, that's the next slide. That's not something new, it's a trend. If you think at the fact that we connect things, it's something technology that we had already more than 40 years ago. And now the technology is much better, but at the very end, the problem is not just to exchange things, it's to share the data which are produced by different sources. And now and that's what we essentially try to achieve in, let me say, starting from the last 20 years. Now is a certain number of years that we move our attention not only to share the data, but to be able to understand the information which are in the data. Because at the very end, we can share a lot of information only if we share the data and we understand what the data means. Now, the standard has tried to give answer to that. And there was a lot of work to try to understand exactly what the standard can do, which has been performed more than 10 years ago. continue, and it's a continuous process that continues today to continue to fill the gaps. And we try to break a little bit this fact that most of the solutions were based on silos or solutions which are peculiar only one company without having really the ability of exchange information with solutions from other companies. And essentially, we focalize all the attention on the concept of, on one side, of interworking of the solution, trying to understand if we can standardize a sort of interworking framework capable to connect the things and share the data between things. And at the other side, try to understand the data, the information carried by the data. Essentially, what we build are a standard which is not, let me say, another solution or a competitive solution with what we have on the market. It's designed to put together the ecosystem and interconnect them. And I'm very glad that, because on that fact, I have to say that we had a very excellent collaboration as a Europe with Korea. And we built what was really one of the most supportive collaboration. We have really a very productive collaboration with Korea in trying to build what is called 1M2M, which is currently the solution that has been standardized by ETSI and with collaboration with the other region, the other partner from the different region of the world, as a solution capable really to put together different IoT protocol, different IoT solution within a single interworking framework. And now 1M2M is very mature. We got a release, we are approaching release 4. And was really a big joint effort between a lot of people from the region that you see here in the picture. And how it works is simply that it's a common project, shared project that produces the specification. Then the specification are reviewed and published in the different region by the SDO, which are leader of that region. We try absolutely not to reinvent the wheel, was trying to use what was already available, also from other standard bodies. And we were very happy that also IoT has made the transposition, now currently release 2, but we are working to keep up to date the transposition in IoT. And another thing what I think is very good to mention is that 1M2M has also been selected as national standard for integrating smart cities by the Indian government as a solution capable exactly to do what I claimed before. So the ability to put together the ecosystem, the different solutions, and put them into a single picture to allow the exchange of data and information. Now, one thing which I think is important to, here you have a little bit of description on 1M2M, but you have much more information in the website, but basically is a distributed layer which stays between the network and the application, is present at the level of edge, fog, cloud, so allow a full distribution of the computing and the data that make it very flexible for a lot of, for practically a lot of application. Now, what is very important is that how we get the sharing of data is the 1M2M architecture. How we get the sharing of information is a big work that we did it on semantic interoperability, working on ontologies. And in particular, the idea is all running around the fact that we produce some rules for mapping vertical domain ontologies into what is called a 1M2M based ontology. Now, 1M2M based ontology has been developed in collaboration, de facto based on what is called the SAREF core. SAREF is an initiative of the European Commission to provide a methodology for defining ontologies and grouping ontologies. I use a definer, but it's not the correct word, is to scout and put together the commonalities between ontologies. I'm sorry for my voice, but come out from a bad flu. Now, how it works. In the world, we have different environments. Each one is using his own data model, his own information models. It's using essentially his own solution. Now we are able to remap these solutions into a common framework for ontology, which looks at the commonalities. And then we use 1 and 2M to essentially to carry the information with some semantic information, adding some semantic information. So 1 and 2M itself is semantic independent, but we are able to mark the data. So by all this mapping and defining the rule of the mapping, we have that we come from vertical ontologies. We found the commonalities using SAREF. Using the semantic support, we are able to transport with 1 and 2M with data annotation. Essentially 1 and 2M works as communication framework between different protocols and different solutions. We have a lot of extensions on side of we already developed. The last one is SmartLift. But what I like to notice that there is also a big work on smart cities. And I like also to address the fact that there is a way to contribute which is open to SAREF. We have also planned to migrate that to 1 and 2M directly, which is essentially a SAREF open portal that where all interested stakeholders can contribute, and then we are take care of transforming this inputs into the formal specification. And as I said, we hope to carry this work also, let me say, to carry this work in 1 and 2M, which is currently run mainly in ETSI. Very final thing, we talk about digital twins, and here you see some of the functionality of digital twins. Last thing that I want to say is that what we have discovered is that 1 and 2M is a perfectly suitable for digital twin, especially for digital twin on the edge. De facto, the interworking function of digital twins are exactly what 1 and 2M is implementing at the edge, especially in terms of what is called some functionality, which are called especially the ability of reflection and composability and augmentation. But there are other features of digital twin which are also present already in 1 and 2M. Saying that, I like to conclude, and I like to thank you for the time that I got. I think I tried to be very quick. I hope that I didn't pass too much the time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Enrico, for presenting this very, very important work on 1M, 2M, which we're, of course, very actively promoting at a global level. Let me now pass the floor to our Korean colleagues, and Mr. Yeong in particular, who is leading the project group on IoT and Smart City at the TTA Standardization Committee. The floor is yours. And again, can we be mindful of the time? Thank you so much.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so you're looking at the first size presentation, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. So my name is Seung-myung Jung, working for KETI here on the bottom. And I especially thank you for Dr. Kim from the last Korean presenter, because he explained a lot of projects in Korea regarding smart city. And one of that is the Smart City Growth Engine project and program. And this is one of the main outcomes from that program. So that is the background, and the title is Smart City Data Hub. And compared to the Enrico's presentation, this presentation slide set is not focused on the standardization activity in Korea, especially the, we call it by the number PG1001 in TTA, but this Smart City Data Hub as a system, it has been standardized in TTA, and we have other kind of standardization activities regarding this one into ETSI and the other standard bodies, as well as 1M2M. And with this system development explanation slide set, I'm going to discuss or explain the system itself, and also I will touch a little bit about the standardization activities just verbally during the presentation. Okay, so just for the sake of time, I'm going to skip over several slides that I don't have to kind of explain, but you know all the concepts, I think. So this would be the first slide that I should start, and this has been illustrated by Dr. Kim. And again, the National Strategic Smart City Program, or we had the other English name like National Smart City Growth Engine Program. So there is the background, and KETI is one of the leading organizations for the first project, and the main outcome was a Smart City Data Hub, and we have in the program 2 pilot cities that deploys and piloting the project, the Smart City Data Hub in 2 cities. So the concept is like this, and maybe I'm going to discuss NGS LD and 1M2M and maybe the other one as well. And this is similar to the NGS LD concept from the ETSI ICT SIM group. So there are a ton of different data sources from the city infrastructures, and there are a lot of kind of data portals. Maybe there should be a lot of SICON-based European portal, and in Korea we have a lot of municipality and central government data portals, and we have a lot of 1M2M platform deployments in Korea. We, as KETI, we have a testbed gathering all the live data from parking lot in the Seongnam city, and there are a lot of commercial deployments in different cities in Korea, and there are a lot of context brokers in European countries and the other countries, and there are a ton of different platforms who can provide data from city infrastructure. And the motivation to have Smart City Data Hub is gather data and organize, manage in one place, so we can have a lot of value-added services, cross-domain services as well. And there could be the future concept like the Data Hub Federation, because a Data Hub could be deployed in a city, and among different cities, they should correspond data and they should be leveraged. So that was the concept that we defined from the beginning. So not just the raw data from different domain or different infrastructure. We focus on the mashup data or some prediction data from the AI model, machine learning model, and so on. So we can have cross-domain services, not the legacy vertical domain services. So those are the main, let me say, the function blocks of the Smart City Data Hub, not just the data collection and storing. We provide a lot of kind of data management functions, and for the standard API, we provide data over and just say LD, and there are analytics module, and of course that one is based on the cloud infrastructure, and we provide several tools like the visualization, and for the semantics we have several services like LOD and other annotation validation services as well. And this is the reference architecture. The reason that I say reference architecture is this has been a bit more abstracted and is standardized in TTA. And as there are many cities for Smart City data adoption in Korea at the moment, And they share the kind of high-level function blocks like analytics and data core and data marketplace and security and so on. So that is the same model for the Smart City Data Hub. And as I said, there is the existing IoT platforms in different cities. And in Seongnam, we have a platform, we have a testbed, and there are Anyang City or the other cities that I explained, as I remember, it was April last year. There are a lot of 1M2M based smart cities, and we gather data, and we not just provide the raw data, we can provide semantic enabled data, and we can provide the marketplace services and so on. And City Data Hub is one of the implementation that we offer as the open source, and that has been used and referenced in 2 cities in the program. And from the other project, we are deploying the open source based system to the other city like Bucheon, or it's about to be finished, and we are piloting the system into Santander in Spain, and there will be more cities as well from this year. And several special features from our open source implementation of the Smart City Data Hub as a common model. And recently, we have published our open sources to the developers, not just in Korea, but all over the countries. And you can refer to this one. And there are specifications for our APIs and our data models and so on and so on. And one of the key thing is we have been using City Data Hub, the open source implementation for the Smart City Data Hub from 2020 for the COVID-19 situation, because there is the epidemic investigation supporting system that has been run by Korean government, and this has been used over 2 years. And as I mentioned, the City Data Hub, Smart City Data Hub can offer cross-domain services with AI, and this is one of the proof of concept that we have done before. And for the parking events, we use our Mobis platform, which is also our open source implementation from KETI for 1M2M standard, and we gather all real-time data from the parking lot, the public parking lot, and we get data from public APIs for weather and fine dust. And we kind of mash up those data, and we created an AI trained model, and we provided the prediction services for the citizens. Okay, time is really short. So that has been done. And as I said, the standardization, we have several standards that we are still working on in the TTA side, the domestic standard. And also we are working for several work items in ETSI, especially in the ICT SIM group, because the data hub system is based on the NGSA LD, and there are more offerings to be considered for the broader scope of ICT SIM group. And regarding the semantics, we have been developing the Smart City Common Ontology, and we've been contributing to 1M2M because there is activities like that. And within this year, we are about to finish the technical report for that Smart City Ontology. And later, we would like to discuss like SARF experts from ETSI group to have a technical specification for the Smart City Ontology in 1M2M. So those are a couple of aspects that we are seeking for the sustainability of the Smart City Data Hub. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much for Mr. Young for this very interesting presentation. Again, also the links to 1M2M. I propose that we take a 5-minute break. We're really almost on time. So I think 5 minutes breaks, 5-minute break is really necessary. So let's all just turn off our cameras briefly, stop the video and mute, and we reconnect in 5 minutes time. Thank you.